Hey guys, I'm back. So I'm really excited to do this video today. I was asked a question on Instagram of how do I get started with tarot. This is going to be a little compilation of, I guess, a tarot newbie starter pack. I've included 3 decks that I feel like would be a great jumping off point for anyone looking to get started. I did include a Oracle / tarot deck. I think you guys might all guess what it is. These are just my opinions. These are basically what I got started with and what worked for me and how I got here. I have a few things collected around me that I want to show you, and I hope that I can help you get started on your journey, or if any of you are already on the journey and don't do any of these things, maybe I can help with that too. So first of all, before we get started, tea. In no way, shape, or form am I saying you have to go and buy every one of these things. It's just an opinion. These are just things that I have done and what I bought and how I got my journey started. So, for the first deck, I am going to suggest the original, the Rider-Waite Smith deck. I keep this deck in order. I don't use this deck to read at all. I'm not saying you shouldn't or you should. I keep it in order for the purpose that this deck is to study. This is my study deck. I have used it in sample readings. You'll never see this. You might not see this on my Instagram. This deck, for me, the purpose only of this deck is to be my study deck. I would suggest it because most of the books that you're going to read about tarot, how to read tarot, exercise books, everything, they relate to that deck, and sometimes they don't have the imagery, so it would be nice to have that deck to look at the card that section of the book is talking about. Because, like I said, most of those books are directly talking about that deck solely. And once you learn with this one, you can deviate and go on to other ones. Or you can do what I did, and I kind of started in my own way and picked my first deck, and I picked this one as one of the last ones I purchased. But that's just me. That's just how I did it. So, the Rider-Waite Smith, I would suggest it to anyone as a deck that you could learn with. You could start with it, or you can do as I do and keep it as a study deck and learn the imagery and the symbolism and the cards that way. So, that deck. If you're into dark things, vampires, demons, shadows, shadow work, dark imagery, another deck that I would suggest to anyone would be Tarot of the Vampires by Ian Daniels. This deck is absolutely stunning. It is beautiful. It was the second tarot deck I ever bought, and this deck is one of my favorites. I love it because I am attracted to dark things. I'm attracted to my dark side. I think my shadow side is a fantastic side of myself that I am trying to integrate in with my everyday life. For anyone listening who doesn't know what the shadow side is, it is a part of you that you keep hidden from everyday life because it's unacceptable, or you're embarrassed, or you don't want anyone to know about it, or society deems that that part of you is not okay. So I'm going to throw this out there. I am a jealous person. Always have been. It's something that I guess I don't really tell anyone, except you guys. I've learned that I should be grateful and happy for the things that I have, while sometimes I still get the green eye and I want everything in sight, and I'm jealous of other people who have it. but I've learned to be happy and accept what I have. So that is part of my shadow side. So this deck is geared toward people like me who like these dark images, who love the shadow, who love the darkness, who love the vampires and the scary things. I'm a huge, huge, huge horror fan in everyday life. Love all horror movies. I think they're fucking great. That being said, I wouldn't want to be in one, but I love the dark stuff. So, along with that comes this book. This book is Phantasmagoria, and if anything, even if you're not attracted to the deck, the guidebook itself is 100% amazing. It talks about, okay, so I just opened the book, and judgment. So it'll say the alchemy of the card, so what it is. It connects with the Kabbalah, astrology, the kindred spirits, which will be explained in the book. They start with the essence, so kind of like the little snapshot of what the card might mean. So judgment, making a clear decision, taking a direct step or firm stand. Eternal energy moving forward, birth and genesis. Resurrection, transfiguration, redemption and liberation. Atonement for past mistakes, the birth of new. Recognizing our true calling, improvements or promotion. Correlation, ceremonies, freedom, utopia. So even that right there, that just gives you an idea of what judgment itself might mean. To me, judgment means to come before someone and to be judged, or to stand trial. I think maybe that's because of my Christian upbringing. That's just how I see judgment itself. At the end, we will be judged and you will go to heaven or hell, blah, blah, blah. But I am coming to terms with a different vision of what judgment might mean. So that's just the essence of the card. And then it goes into the message, which typically in this book is a page and a half, maybe two. And then from there on, it goes into the analysis and the symbolism. So why does this card have this person on it? Why does that person look that way? What does that rose in the background mean? What does that butterfly in the background mean? Why did the artist put that there? And so on and so forth. And then the shadow. So if you were going to use this deck for shadow work specifically, or use it as a reversal, some people do that, there is a whole paragraph here that explains about the shadow side of the judgment card. So I'll just read the first. The dark aspect of judgment presents itself as injustice, dogma, a lack of insight, prejudice, and preconception. The card here can also indicate that we are holding onto the past, hesitating when we should be acting. So that's just a little blip about what each card could be. There's more information on the major arcana. The minors still get enough recognition in this book. This is part of my study guide. I use this all the time. So again, Tarot of the Vampires by Ian Daniels. You can find it probably anywhere. I've bought mine on Amazon. Where I am in Canada, there's not a lot of metaphysical shops that I can readily go to. So if I can't get it here, I will buy it on Amazon. It's just easier for me. Shipping to Canada is hella crazy anywhere else. So you can find it there. Same for the Rider-Waite Smith deck. You can buy that pretty much anywhere. Chances are at your local shop, they will have a copy. Alright. Third deck, I have chosen the Shadowscapes Tarot. And this deck is absolutely fucking beautiful. I feel like I need to go and cleanse myself before I look at this deck. Not because of some need because I feel dirty and I don't deserve to look at it. I feel like I need to take a bath because this deck is so fucking juicy. Okay, so here's the back. Even on the back of the card, there's so much symbolism on it. My only gripe about this deck is that the cards are too small. I would love to have a ginormous deck. Like, if it could be the same size as the guidebook, that would be brilliant. So, a lot of people probably wouldn't suggest to you this to be one of your first tarot decks. I think, why not dive in? It might be confusing, but that's the journey. And this is the deck that I started with, as I might have said previously. I use it a lot for working with colors, animals. I definitely read that guidebook more than once. So I'm just going to show you some of the images. It's a kinder deck. There are fae spirits and mermaids, swans, foxes, dragons. There are all kinds of different beings in this deck. Even showing you the cards on camera do no justice at all to how beautiful it is. There are a lot of things in it all at once. You might need a magnifying glass to see the images clearly. But if this sort of thing attracts you, this would be a perfect deck to start with. The guidebook itself is really meaty. It is read like a story. So you'll get the story side and then the meaning. I like that. There is a full page representation of the card. It's not colored, but if you want to hold them side by side and pick up your card and then look in the book, you can see out the bigger details. I like to do that too. I would suggest getting the set and spending a little bit more money and getting the book itself. I had the choice to pick one or the other. I spent a little bit more money and I got the guidebook itself. I can't do little white books. I do appreciate them with certain decks, but if I have the option to buy either, I will always go for the bigger box with the book in it, just because. All right, little tea break here. It's tea time. So fucking fancy. All right, so that's my 3 tarot decks that I would suggest. I'm going to show you the deck that I started with, the first deck that I ever bought. It pulled me in. I think at that time it was the only tarot deck that this store in my home, not my hometown, but in my town carried at this store. So it is the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck by John Holland. So it's very hard to categorize this deck on the tarot side or the oracle side. It has aspects of both. So there are a major arcana. All of the names are changed. So it was a little difficult for me to start with this deck and then to move on to a Rider-Waite Smith clone deck. That was the first card I saw. New Beginnings. I thought, shit, well, I'm that girl going on a journey as well. The interesting thing about this deck, though, is that it includes the chakras. And that's how I first learned about what a chakra is, what they mean, what are they. Chakras themselves are the little energy centers of the body. So there are 7 popular ones, and they look like the colors of the rainbow. And I'm not going to get into the entire chakra system today. It's not the video. I need to stop rambling. But it was an interesting deck because it had a lot of different components with it that I thought was interesting. It had color. It explained the colors. It explained the chakras. It had the tarot aspects of it. And it was everything that I wanted when I first saw it. And I love the backing. I get a really lot of honest readings with this deck. I still, now and again, I'll pick it up. It's not the deck that I'll just snatch up anytime I want to read something with. I've been very good at keeping one deck per month doing new things. But this is a phenomenal deck to have. It's a phenomenal deck to even start with. If you're going to try and branch out into different things, different aspects of this entire world that we're all involved in. Alright, so The Psychic Tarot by John Holland. And that's that for actual tarot decks. So I collected 2 books that I own, and these are the books that I would suggest to you if you need an extra little blip, more than what a guidebook would give you. So this is the only tarot book you'll ever need by Sky Alexander. There are little representations of the Rider-Waite Smith deck. It has, I'll just take one. Okay, so the moon. So it'll have a little picture of the moon, what the moon means, an interpretation of it, and then they'll have a little thing called Tricks of Tarot, and then on the side it'll have a thing called Tarot Talk, so like little blips and little random pieces of information. It also has an upright and a reversed meaning, so that's good too if you were trying to get into reversals. And then Learning the Tarot by Joan Bunning. So what I use this book for is a study guide, and while I'm doing that, this deck is what I use. There are little journal prompts, there are little activities and quizzes, spreads, sample spreads, huge book full of information. So I just landed on the Hermit. It has like a little keyword, so searching, guidance, solitude. There are actions, so focusing inward. And then if you've resonated with the solitude part of the Hermit, in the actions part, in the seeking solitude section, it'll say needing to be alone. So it dives further into the 4 keywords at the top. And then it has opposing cards. So cards are the opposite. So like the Lovers, what it could mean if you see the Hermit and the Lovers together being in a relationship. Sexuality. So reinforcing cards are below that. And then some possibilities. So reinforcing is if you get the Hermit and say the 8 of Cups, the 2 of them together could mean searching for a deeper meaning. And then there is a description. I have this book completely highlighted. And that's that. Beautiful study guide. It is well worth the investment. I paid $25 for it locally. It was the first tarot deck I picked up. Jesus Christ. Alright. Now, on to tarot journaling. I am a little bit anal about what I do when I journal. So I bought The Witch's Datebook for 2016. I don't know if it's intended to do what I do with it, but here we are in May. I'll just flip to a random page. So May, June. It'll have this. I keep it to see what the moon phases are, what signs it moves in, the color of the day, all of those things. I usually write my daily draws in this book. If I don't post it on Instagram, it's in this book. That's just what I do. As for tarot journaling, is completely separate. It's a completely different activity. in and of itself, and this is what I have. This is my tarot journal. Anytime I do a sample spread or a spread that I'm not posting online, not that they're all, none of my posts are private in this book. It's just questions, deck interviews that I haven't posted, deck spreads. It's kind of my Book of Shadows, but it is for tarot only. There are no oracle, anything in here. I have a separate book for oracles. I also do path working in here. I do shadow work in here. I do everything tarot related in this book. Recently, I picked up another journal. I showed you a little bit. I use this now for my inner child work. So what I would do with that, I'll just show you the first page. So I started on May 15th. And then I put the title, the question, how do you, brackets, inner child see me, the adult self. And then I put the card, and then what I know the meaning to be from myself. And then I consider my inner child little Sherry, and that's what I call her, and I consider her a separate part of me. So that's how I do that. What else? I am notorious for pens. Gel pens, any kind of pen, blue pens, black pens, pink pens, whatever color pen. Anytime I buy a new journal, I'm getting new pens. Guaranteed. I can't have a new journal with an old pen. It just doesn't work. What else do I have here? I think that's it. I think the video might be over. Actually, that's a lie. One more tip that I would give to anyone. I would utilize my cell phone. I've discovered the wonderful world of tarot on Pinterest. So, here's my little doohickey. It's myself. And then you can't really see that, but I pin all kinds of tarot spreads and tarot whatnots that I would love to do. So if you don't want to spend money, or you can't afford to go out and buy all of these books and things and how-tos and etc., you have it free in your hand. Here it is, Inner Child Work. Oh, you can't see that. Inner Child Work by Wild Moon Women. I found that on Pinterest. There's new moon spreads, there are birthday spreads, a lover spread, relationship spreads, talking to the other side, all kinds of things. You can just type in tarot spreads or tarot on Pinterest and find so many pins. I have all kinds on here. Feel free to follow me. I believe my name on there is Rainbow-esque. But anyway, use everything you have. Like I said, you don't have to go out and buy all of these things that I've brought up and brought to your attention. These are just the things that I have done to get me where I am now. I do have a lot of decks. This is a different kind of topic, and I'm going to ramble just a little bit. I do have a lot of decks. I don't use all of them because I collect. And that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate tarot or I don't love it. I love the artwork. I love owning them. I will use them. They are all of my babies, but I am a huge collector. I love owning my tarot decks. They are mine. They are my babies. I love getting to know them, to smell them. The first reactions when I bring them back out of their box or their bag or wherever I have them hiding. They are all collections and all parts of me that I love to collect. So, once again, this is my Newbie starter pack. What I would suggest, if you're new on this journey and you want to find some things to do or tarot decks to use, this is what I would use. All of these things are what I have used to start myself here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. What did you start with? What did you guys use? I love watching all of these videos. Just to see like what people started out with is so awesome. Maybe you started out with a different deck than I did. Maybe you started out with different books than I did. And I love finding new things, new decks to buy, new books to buy. Like, these are my favorite things. This is why I love this community so much. We're so different and so... we're a beautiful community and I love it. So thank you guys so much for watching me ramble for like fucking 25 minutes. I hope in some way I helped someone on their new path, or a seasoned tarot reader who maybe doesn't do some of these things. I hope I helped someone today. I love you guys.